Okay, hello, I'm John Pelsavari, talking today about programming, in particular testing, okay? So first of all, why test? So imagine you are going to your friends and you want to show them, oh, I can slap myself in the face, but I'm not really, I'm just got some sort of a clap when I slap myself in the face. And you go to show your friends and you go, ow, because you haven't tested it. So what you want to do is you want to test to make sure you can do it properly so you don't embarrass yourself, okay? For coding, we've all seen this before, we've done Visual Basic in the Visual Studio. We want to make sure that if we're making a program for a customer, that we never show them the program and then end up with an error like this, okay? Because it's embarrassing and it means the program doesn't work the way we would expect it to. So that's why we test. Now, this is some example test data. We want to make sure that the data we're using to test is appropriate and that it's checking that the program works the way we would expect it to. So for example, here we have an if statement. If wallet is greater than 5, then print out you've bought a Freddo for $1 and the wallet is then equal to wallet minus 1. Okay? So when we want to test that, we want to test below, okay? So maybe say like the number 4. We want to test on, so we want to test the number 5. We want to test above, so 6 or more, okay? We want to just check what happens when we try each of those different scenarios. We could test the robustness of the code as well, okay? And to do that, we're looking at things like the data type. So here we would expect wallet is some type of numeric value, an integer probably, looking at these whole numbers. What would happen if we gave it a string? Can the program handle that, or do we have issues there? Usability testing, this is another type of testing. VCAA, this is a particular part that will show up on the SAT criteria. What it means is testing that it can be used, testing that user functions work, okay? So it can be done by liaising with the end user, but basically you want to go through and see every function that the user can actually do in your program. You want to make sure that each of those work. Okay, so for example, the subject enrollment application allows students to view subject descriptions. So a good usability test is to open the program and test that you can view those the subject descriptions. The other part of usability testing is to go back through your SRS and check any requirements that you set there, go through your program and test that all those requirements have been met, okay? For example, click the back button, we'll take the user to the previous page. If that was a requirement that you set, you need to then go back through and test it, okay? All your tests need to be recorded in a testing table. If you set requirements back in your SRS and you run out of time or for whatever reason you couldn't get them working, still include them, okay? Don't pretend like they didn't exist, because people go back through SRS and they'll see that they did exist. So make sure you make mention of them. And it's okay to include a requirement that, that you've run out of time to complete or you couldn't figure out how to complete. Just put that note into your testing table. So in your testing table, what do we need to put in there? Simply what is being tested. Okay, it might be a function, a button, a requirement. Okay, that'll be like your first column of the testing table. Second column is what test data is being used. So for example, wallet equals 5. Okay. If we tested wallet equals 4 and wallet equals 6, that would be separate entries. There'd be 3 separate tests. What is the expected result? Okay. So we might be, that we expect when we have $5, we might expect that we do buy a Freddo, and then depending on whether it's a greater than sign or a greater than or equal to sign, will depend on whether it actually buys the Freddo or not. The actual result will be what actually happens when you run the test, and then what is the fix? If required, what did you do to make the actual result look like your expected result? So here's a quick example of what a testing table could look like. So first thing, what are we testing? The feature. Clicking the back button will take the user to the previous page. The test data is simply a left click. This is almost like your input. What is the user inputting to test it? So left click on the back button. We're expecting that the page the user was previously on will load. The actual outcome page the user was previously on is loaded. Okay, so the actual matches the expected. Therefore, there is no fix, not applicable. Next feature, subject descriptions. Left click on computing software development, then left click on show details. The description for computing software development should be shown. That's our expected result. What's actually happening though is a description for the subject below the chosen subject is chosen. Okay. We look at the fix, what was done to fix this issue. There was a change statement in the code from ARR subject description I to ARR subject description I-1. Okay? So remembering that when you've got an array, usually the very first entry in an array is the index 0. Okay? So in the logic in the code, it was 1 out based on the way that it was iterating through that array. And so it was fixed here by putting in that -1. Okay? Modifications. Now in the SAT there is marks for modifications, which is just simply add changes that you have made. Now if your testing table has the fixed column completely blank, you get 0 marks. Okay? The way the marking criteria is worded is you have to make modifications based on the tests that you've run. The likelihood that you've written perfect code with no errors, it's almost impossible. Okay, even those simple little typos that you might have made, you should put that in your testing table because then that's going to give you the marks for the modifications you've made. Okay. Now this is a common misconception: testing versus evaluation. Okay, testing is done during the development phase. Okay, testing is to fix errors and check that everything works without any errors. Okay. It's testing the usability, it's testing that the logic works, it's testing the robustness and things like that, making sure that if the wrong data type's put in, it still works. Whereas evaluating is done long after the development is finished. Okay? So testing is usually done by a developer. It can be someone else, it can be an individual tester, that could be their whole job is just to test, but usually done by the developer. Once the program is finished, given to the customer is using it. Maybe after a month or two, the company that made the program might go back to the customer and sort of say, you know, how good is this product that we gave you? Okay, is it meeting all the requirements we set out to fix for you? Okay, that's it. Thanks for watching.